morning, boys and gals. I hope we're all good. I hope we've all had a decent week and we are ready for the rest of this week. Sorry, 2 seconds. Ugh. Let me get out of my system. Yesterday was an interesting day, to be fair. A bit slow in places. Missed a couple of positions which hurt a little bit on hindsight and looking back over things. But there are definitely a couple of things that we can watch for this morning and today, and also a couple of situations that might play out given the fundamentals that we have scheduled for today. So today is a big day. We have the interest rate decisions for the pound. So a monetary policy statement. If previous statements or anything to go by, we may see the pound pop a little bit today. We might see a push to the upside. So something for us to watch for, something for us to be mindful of around lunchtime. I have literally just taken a position on pound New Zealand long. So looking to try and capitalise on that. There are 2 reasons for that, or a couple of reasons for that, should I say even. So Euro Swiss, a lot of us are still in this, I'm well aware, myself included. Still in a position on Euro Swiss, looking to continue that push from 110. We're chilling about 35 pips up in a minute. So we're not breaking records, but we have covered our loss from New Zealand Swiss yesterday. Which just saw unparalleled kind of strength come into the market almost immediately after we were triggered on it back on Tuesday, I believe. So yeah, we have at least made that back and covered that loss, which is obviously a big bonus for us. So still looking for Euro Swiss to push to the downside until 110 breaks again. Then not really interested in looking anywhere else with regards to that pair. 109.50 would present us with a possible second entry if and when we can close below that level. But we do need to get the close below. We can't take anything prior to that. Nothing would then give us the same kind of level of probability that close below 109.50 would, as we continue down to that 108 80 level that we've been talking about for a week or so now. So we'll see how that carries on and see how that progresses. It's a very, very slow burner, but we kind of knew that when we came into it. The beauty of these Swiss pairs is that whilst they're slow burners, they're typically pretty good movers and pretty steady. So we should just eventually end up hitting the target that we have pre-planned and predetermined. If we don't, and obviously we break back above 110 at 110, then that's absolutely fine. No harm done. We should be break even in the pair by now. So like I say, we see what happens. We'll let it do its thing. If we get stopped for break even, we get stopped for break even. We're well up for the year. Taking a couple of little losses at the beginning of the month doesn't really make any difference to us. So we'll let it continue to do its thing. EURCAD, Euro dollar, don't really like the look of quite so much. Not Euro, I don't want to type that in. I want to type. EURCAD is just simply consolidating. So we have this region now that we know once we're out of it, either to the up or the downside, we're going to potentially see some form of a movement. We're either going to see a push if we break back above that 47.50 level. We see that push up towards 80, and then obviously potentially higher than that in extension. But for the time being, very focused around a return of that 147.80 level. I'm going to retest of these previous lows and that area of breakout. That looks to be a very, very good place for the pair to start and for us to look. So that does obviously naturally interest, and we shall see where we go regarding that, and whether or not we're going to get a potential entry. If obviously naturally we drop out the bottom, we are going to want to wait now for 47 to be taken out before we enter, just to keep probability on our side. Ooh. Until either of those things happen, we're not going to be able to take a trade. We just need to sit tight, sit pretty, let it do its thing, and then obviously from there we will see what happens. But for the time being, we're trapped in no man's land on this pair at the moment. So there's nothing that we can look to do, no positions that we can really look to take until we've popped either below that 47 region or above 47.50. Euro USD, again, very range bound. We're currently trapped within this consolidation region, which is absolutely fine. Pretty content for the pair to be in that zone, but we do need to drop out of the lows of it. If we can drop back below the lows and get back below 120 or 120.10, then obviously we should see a retest and a break of that 1980 level, and then obviously a push on from there. If we break back above 2040, I would definitely envision a retest of 121, which hasn't happened and is definitely a possibility for the pair. This week for sure. Certainly if you come out to the 4-hour time frame, we can certainly see that a push into 2050 is a possibility. So breaks above that level, definitely going to lead us back to 121. Anything below that though, we should still be looking for possible shorts. But again, I don't like it now until 2010 at a minimum is taken out, and closes below 120 will obviously be massive for the pair. Pound New Zealand, that's spiked a little bit more than I thought it would. That's gone better than expected. I just want to check what my actual entry was. 76.8. So yeah, that's not gone too bad at all. That's pushed straight into a profit. Which is obviously a good thing. Now, there's a couple of reasons that I fancy the long on Pound New Zealand at the moment. First and foremost, obviously, we are currently sat on a support region that we have seen act on a few occasions. Therefore, obviously, hoping and expecting some form of reaction from that. We started to reject, and I took my entry a little bit before 8:30. As you can see, just before candle closed, we then seen just that immediate push to the upside. Not completely sold on the fact that this is it. This is going to be that break to the upside. Probably going to want to wait for 93.20 to be taken out. But by that point, I'll be 50 pips up in my position. So I won't overly mind. The reasoning behind this is obviously with the pound interest rates and monetary policy statement today, I cannot envision a scenario where they are particularly negative about the economy or the vaccination plan or any of these situations. So it makes perfect sense for us to look for potential pushes away and see obviously what we are able to take advantage of, see if there are potential opportunities that we have moving forward. So the break above, obviously the failure to break the previous lows, rejection away from the support region with huge hammer bar, gives us that indication that obviously we may see a push to the upside. That momentum has carried, and luckily we've gone straight into profit, which is always a good thing. Like most things in this world, that's not a given though. I'm not 100% sure that this is just going to push straight on. I would imagine that we're likely to see some form of a push back down towards the at least 92.70 before we see a push to the upside. But breaks above the highs at 93.20 would definitely give us potential entries. If that monetary policy if we can be risk-free by the monetary policy statement, there is obviously a risk that we get stopped out for break-even. But we can put our stops to break-even and ride that through if we so wanted to. If that is a positive statement, then we will end up at 94.50 within a matter of minutes. So it's just a calculated risk to reward situation, whether or not it's worthwhile trying to hold it. But the fact that we've managed to gain, or I have, or the rest of you might be able to gain a slightly better entry, is obviously a massive bonus also. So we just see how things progress throughout the day, but being risk-free by lunchtime would definitely give us the option for this to be quite a large position. If we can see some form of a push into 94.50 as a result of the fundamentals, then obviously we've got a very, very good position on our hands. So we shall wait it out, see what happens, see where we go. Not expecting miracles from it by any stretch of the imagination, don't get me wrong, but it would be nice to get some form of an entry that we can be risk-free on before that fundamentals come into play. And looking through the pound pairs, I don't see too many other potentials. Obviously, pound Oz looked good with that rejection, but that has failed to materialise into anything. Pound CAD failed to materialise into anything that has broken through the 50 level, so we'll watch that for potential short positions, to be honest. And pound dollar failed to do anything. We need to get out of the range that we are currently trapped in, so it breaks back above 39.20. So for the time being, pound New Zealand definitely presented the best opportunity for us to be able to bank some form of profit leading into the day. So yeah, we'll just be a little bit mindful about this and see where we potentially progress to, see what happens. I'll probably look to take this position risk-free as quickly as I can do, if, in all honesty. It's not something that I particularly want to be involved in for too long. So getting risk-free as soon as possible would be massively beneficial for us. Yeah, we're allowed that to push. We'll let that continue to do its thing. New Zealand Swiss sold off. We broke up towards the highs, like a massively broke up towards the highs. Really wasn't expecting a push quite so far. But we are seeing obviously quite a sharp sell-off when it comes to New Zealand this morning. That push, I hope, is replicated on Euro Swiss, but I highly doubt it. I don't think it's the Swiss franc that's strengthened up a little bit, but I think it's the New Zealand dollar that has weakened this morning. So we're currently looking and currently seeing a sell-off to the downside. If obviously we do then break back below 65.50, then that's a big thing for us. We can look to potentially carry that momentum down, that lower low, lower high formation, and a drive back below 65 should then give us the option to enter that position again, take that back to the downside. I don't know what New Zealand dollar is doing, to be honest. Look, that looks lovely too, that failure to break the highs. I would definitely be looking to short New Zealand dollar below 71.80. I'd be pretty content to attempt to short the pair there. So I am actually just going to set up a sell stop quickly from 71.80, looking for the potential sell-off there. See if we can't get that push to the downside. That would be nice. Gold, not interested. Like, really and truly, the price structures at the moment suck on gold, and they're really not presenting any favourable opportunities. Aussie dollar, the rejection away is lovely. Potentially look to enter around 77.20 might be an option actually. So we might get an entry on Aussie dollar around 72.20. Sell stop there also. That could definitely present us with some form of a push. That wouldn't be too bad to see at all, in all honesty, would it? So we will keep an eye on that. Pound New Zealand just flitting around, not really doing anything. I just want to keep a watchful eye on the pair as to whether or not it's worth continuing to be in this morning. So we're keeping an eye at the moment. Still plenty up. So yeah, Aussie dollar away from 72.20 below. Failure to break the highs, it should lead us into those lower lows. I know we would get in a little bit early, but it would also see us clear a lot of the noise, or we wait for the whole number to be taken out. That's entirely down to us as individuals and our particular risk preferences, but if we were to wait for the whole number to be taken out, that would make a lot of sense also. But definitely potential for shorts. Longs above, obviously, without saying, our potentials also. 77.50 is a massive level for the pair. Been used on so many occasions recently and historically. So it's one to be mindful of and definitely to keep an eye on. Doesn't look like there's particularly an entry anywhere below before though. So 77.20 or the whole number, depending on your risk tolerance. And how happy you are with taking potential risks, or longs above maybe the 70 level would make sense to be take out the previous highs before looking for that push. Dollar CAD, we're trading around the lows. Breaks below 22.40 or longs above 22.80, maybe leave it as high as 22.90 to be fair. You could long back up to 23.60 or, well, no, you couldn't. You could long it back to 23.90. So that's not a bad position, 100 pips between the two. Or obviously you can short below 22.60. I don't know where we go off the top of my head from there. I want to say that it's down to 120. Yeah, 120.50 is the next area for us once we get through that region. So we'll just keep an eye on that and see how we progress moving forward. Pound New Zealand doesn't look quite so favourable at the moment, but we'll see how we close after any momentum push. You can expect to see some form of a pullback. Probably going to see that pullback to entry, if I'm honest. I do believe in the position. I do think there has a lot of potential, but that's probably quite likely to pull back to entry. I'm probably just going to take my profit off the table on it and actually set a buy stop above the 30 level, just to be triggered in if we can break the previous highs. I think that makes sense for us at the moment. I believe that that's probably going to fire back to entry at some point. So I'd rather just take my profit off the table quickly and then let it do its thing. I can always get back involved in the position when we break the highs. So that's not a problem. But yeah, apart from that, it's, like I say, mostly fundamentals that we have to watch for today. Pound monetary policy, pound interest rates at 12 or half 12. Somewhere around 12 or half 12 this afternoon. So we do need to, 12 o'clock it is. We do need to be mindful of that. There is some minor pound data out at 9:30 as well, PMI figures, so that will be interesting. Apart from that, I think it's just a case of waiting and seeing what we do. If we can get a potential entry that gets us risk-free on the pound before, that would be ideal. Although, as things stand at the moment this morning, I'm not 100% certain that that is going to happen. We shall see. But New Zealand dollar, Aussie dollar definitely present us with potential short opportunities. And pound CAD presents us with a potential short opportunity, although the pound New Zealand pair and pound Oz, for that matter, both present us with potential longs. So we'll just wait it out and see what happens. That's all we can do. Hope everyone has a decent day, whatever you're up to, and I'll